Hello world! In this tutorial we're going to learn how to create this PokeDex with JavaScript, and we're going to call an API and we're going to take the images from another API, so it will be a lot of fun. And at the end you'll get this nice grid of Poke cards with all the Pokemons from the first series. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay, here we have a CodePen project which has just a little bit of styling. We have the font, the background color, and then everything in the body is displayed flex and centered in the middle, and also a little styling for the H1. So now we can focus entirely on the Poke container, and that's how we're going to have the ID for the div. So Poke container. And also let's add a class of Poke container on it, so we can style it in the CSS. Okay, so as you've guessed, this will be the wrapper for all of the Pokemon cards. We can move now to the JavaScript, where we're going to use this Poke container. So document, get element by ID, Poke container. So we target this div, and next let's see, we have 150 Pokemons. So let's store that in a variable. Pokemon's number will be 150. Like that. We're going to use this number to fetch all of the Pokemons. But first, let's create a function which we can call to get a Pokemon. So, const get Pokemon will be an async function, and it will require an ID. So what number will have the Pokemon? The first one will be Bulbasaur, or how do you call it, which will have an ID of 1. So here in this get Pokemon function, we're going to have an URL, which will be a URL from an API. Let me copy it over. So this URL. Here we can get all the data for the Pokemons. And we're going to pass in the ID. So this is the URL. Now we're going to fetch it. So const, which will return a result, await fetch URL, like that. And then we're going to get the Pokemon from res.json. Let's console.log it so we can see what data we have. Pokemon. Okay, console. We need to call it with 1. Let's see. Okay, there's a promise because I forgot to add the await keyword. Alright, this is too long. So let's see. If we inspect it and we go here in the console, you can see an object. Let me increase the font. Okay, you can see an object. It has the abilities, move, species, stats, everything you want. The name, the order, the height, everything you want. We're just going to use the name and its type. Okay, let's get back here, close this console, and move on. So as I said, we have 150 Pokemons. So we're going to call this function 150 times. Let's remove this. So const fetch is Pokemons. Will be also a sync function, and it will run a for loop. I is 0, or let's make it 1. I goes up to Pokemon's number, I++. This is why we needed this number. Or we could put it here, but yeah, it's nice to have variables so you can know exactly what it is. And here we're going to do await get Pokemon I. So we can fetch Pokemons here. Let's place it here so we can see. So basically this will be called when the JavaScript is running. Next, we're going to use this Pokemon data and we're going to create a Pokemon card. So let's see, create Pokemon card, and we pass in the Pokemon. And now we need to write that function. Function create Pokemon card, and it will take in a Pokemon, like that. Okay, and here we're going to construct the HTML for the Pokemon card. First, let's create a div. So Pokemon element. Let's call it like that. If I say Pokemon in a funny way, that's because it is. So don't worry about that. Document create element div in a string. And we're going to have to add a class on it so we can later style it in the CSS. So Pokemon element class list add Pokemon. Alright, and let's create the inner HTML. Const, let's call it Poke inner HTML. And here we'll have all the HTML which later will be added inside the Poke container here. Next, let's add this Poke HTML to the Pokemon element. So Pokemon element inner HTML will be Poke inner HTML, like that, and we can append this Pokemon element to the Poke container. Okay, Poke container append child Pokemon element, like that. And let's have something here in the inner HTML so we can see it appearing on the screen. If we did everything right, maybe we can have the Pokemon ID like that. Okay, let's see. We get the Pokemons, we fetch all the Pokemons, we call the function, alright, and we create the cards. Everything seems right. Let's check the console. Okay, so fetch Pokemons before initialization. Alright, we can have that there because we have a const. My bad, let's place it here. Alright, look at that. Now we have all the 150 numbers. So basically that means we have all the data, we just want to style it and put it inside tags and all that. So let's do that. We have a lot of data, but we want to change it a little bit. So for example, the name. If we put here the Pokemon name, you're going to see that it's lowercase. So we want to have the first letter be uppercase. So let's construct that. Const name will be Pokemon name, 0 will be 2 uppercase, and then we're going to append Pokemon name slice 1. So everything that's after 1. Now if we change this to our custom name, you're going to see that all the names will have the first letter be uppercase. Let's create the card. So here the inner HTML. We're going to have an image container which will keep the image inside. So div class image container, like that, and here we're going to have the image, which source will be. So basically we have here, let me show you, we have an image from this API. If we open it and say /1, alright, so we have all the data here, and we also have the image. Scroll down. Yeah, so here we have the sprites. We have the shiny. From the back, also have a lot of data. So let me scroll again down to the sprites. You can see here back shiny, front default. That's front shiny. So if you click that, you can see we have this image, but it's kind of ugly. So what I did is I found another API which has much better images. And that API is here, pokersbastionbot.org/images/Pokemon, and we can see the ID which is 1.png. And now you can see a nice version of the Pokemon. So this is much better than we have before. That's why we're going to use this instead. So for the image, for the source, we're going to paste this, and we're going to change this to an ID, which we're going to have on Pokemon.id. Okay, look at that. Now we have all these nice images of Pokemons. Some are big, some are small, but we're going to style them. Perfect. Next, let's see. We're going to have the information underneath the image. So let's have a div, a class of info, and we're going to place all the information here. We want the number, we want the name, and we want its type. So span class number, we'll have the Pokemon number, which is basically the ID. So Pokemon.id span. We're going to format this a little bit later, but for now let's leave it like that. And now we have the name, which we constructed here, that goes inside an h3 tag class name, and we place it here, name, like that. And last, we're going to have a type. Small class will be type, and it will say type. Colon, we'll have a span, inside here will be the type. You also need to create this type because for now it's not the way we want it. Let me finish this code and now we can create the type. Let's see example of the type we have from the API. So if we take this URL again, or we can go back here. Yeah. If we search for type, you're going to see it has multiple types, but we want to use the most common one. So what I did is I created an object which has the type linked to the color. So I call this object, let me paste it in, copy it over, okay. So we have the colors and we have all these common types. It will start with the most common ones, so fire, grass, electric, water. And in this case, you can see that it has poison and grass. But we'd like to be grass. So we're going to take the array of types, we're going to map over them, and we're going to extract the one that appears first. Let me show this in code. So here above the name, let's see, const PokeTypes. So we want to extract this data from the Pokemon, which is Pokemon types, and we're going to map over it because we only want this name. So we map over it, let's say type, and we need the type.type.name. Maybe this is not the best name for the element, so let's say element, like that. So we take the element, which is this, we're going to inside the type and then the name. Okay, that might be confusing a little bit, but follow along and you'll understand. So next we're going to take the PokeType, so like that, and we want to loop over all the types, which are here in this object. So for that, let's first create a main types array, which will be object is colors. And let me console.log this main types so you can see what I mean here. Okay, let's comment this out first so we don't have an error. Alright, now you can see that it goes over the entire object here and takes out the keys, which we can use here. So we have the main types and we're going to find what type we have. So this find takes in an element like we have here, but we call it type this time, and we're going to take this array and say index of type bigger than -1. So basically what this says, let me put it on another row, it goes over all the types and it finds the first one, which is in this array. I hope this makes sense. So for example, let's close that. Let's add the CSS so we can see it. So in the CSS, we are going to style everything now. First, the Poke container. Container with a dash. Like that will be display flex. Align items, space between. Like that. Justify content center. It will have a max width like that, 1200 pixels. Margin 0 and auto to fix it everything in the center. And let's say flex, wrap, wrap. Like that. Okay, now you can see that the type appeared. Let's decrease these images so we can see it better. Pokemon, we style the Pokemon div. Background color initially will be EEE. The border radius will be 20 pixels. And here inside we have the image container. So let me quickly style it. Pokemon image container. Margin top will be 20 pixels and max width will be 900%, and the image inside it like that will be margin top 20 pixels and max width 9% here, not here. Now it's better. Let's add the fixed width and height here so we can see it better. 120 pixels and height 120 pixels. Okay, look at that, much better. So this image container also has a border radius 50%, and let's see, the background color, which is almost white with a little bit of opacity. So white with 0.6. Okay, like that. Let's go back to the card to make it bigger. Padding 20 pixels, everything will be in the center like that, and have a little bit of margin, 10 pixels. Okay, much better. And we don't need this margin top. Okay, next let's style the info. The info will be the wrapper for the text. So Pokemon info will be margin top 20 pixels, like that. Next, the Pokemon number. We're going to style everything now that we are here in this CSS. Pokemon number will be background color. Let's see, why don't we see the entire box? That's because we haven't closed this image tag. Alright, look at that, much better now. So we haven't closed this image tag, and we had the info go inside the image container. Alright, now you can see much better the cards. Perfect. Let's go back to the styling. On the Pokemon, let's add the box shadow. Box shadow 0, 3 pixels, 15 pixels. RGBA will be 100, 100, 100, 0.5. Okay, we have a little bit of depth. Next, for the number here, we have a border radius 10 pixels, a font size of 0.8 ems, and a padding of 5 pixels, 10 pixels. Okay, perfect. You can see now it has a nice background there. And for the name, let's copy this over and change this to name. Alright, here we have a margin of 15 pixels, 0 and 7 pixels, and letter spacing 1 pixel. Okay, that's it for the CSS. What's left to do now is to reformat this number and have all the cards be the color of the type. So let's do that. Here on the number we have this ID. What we want to do is to have before it a hashtag like that. We want to have 3 numbers. So basically here we'll have to say 001, 002, and here we'll have to say 019. We can do that by using the pad start function on the string. First, let's convert this to a string, so to string, and next we can use the pad start. We're going to say that we want to be of length 3 and start with 0. You can see now how nicely it formatted it. So we have 001 with the hashtag in front, 007, and so on and so forth, which is perfect. Let's add the background color of the card to be one of these colors. So you can see here we have all the types and the color associated with it. So what we have to do is to say here under the name, let's say color, which will be colors of type. We have the type here, fire, grass, and everything, and also we have this object. So we take this hex value. which is inside the color, and next we can apply it on the Pokemon element on the style, and background color will be color, like that. And look at that, every Pokemon now has a nice card styled with its own type, which is perfect. We can save this, and if it reloads, let's see, we should get all the Pokemons again. Look at that, very nice. So in this tutorial we learned how to call an API, how to take the data, how to manipulate it because it wasn't the way we wanted it, so we had to change it around. Also we had to work with another API to take these nice images, and we also had some CSS to style everything and make it look pretty. Maybe as a challenge for you, you can use some of the extra data we have here. You can see there is a lot of data, and when you hover over the card or maybe click the card, add some more information about the Pokemon. This is a nice challenge you can take. If you manage to do it, make sure you leave it in the comment section below so I can take a look. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye!